Let's take a look at this first clip here. Right, here it goes. Let's watch.
Hello guys, I'm Karen. Recently, I received lots of personal letters asking me whether Chinese people eat dogs. So I want to clarify that Chinese people don't eat dogs. Eating dogs only exists in the old China in the last century, but nowadays Chinese people don't eat dogs. Dogs are our good friends, and we will certainly not hurt them, let alone to eat them.
Okay, well, we've got a little map to show you, if we can bring that up here. Okay, now this was we recorded this yesterday. We did a screen record. We basically went onto Baidu Maps, which is like Google Maps in China, and we searched Go Road Dian, which means dog meat restaurant or whatever. This is in Beijing, whole bunch. That's the capital of China.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're not going to go through this blow by blow because we also have in the search, anyone who understands Chinese can look in the background. We also search Shanghai, which is the most cosmopolitan city in China.
Yeah, it's up there right now.
Yeah, there we go. And there's a bunch of dog meat restaurants in Shanghai, Guangzhou, Tianjin, Huizhou. Look, the fact of the matter is people in China eat dogs.
Sure. I guess the issue I have with this and the thing that I find... we have different perspectives on this whole thing. We're not going to get into the morality of the whole situation.
No. I mean, eating dogs is whatever it is.
It happens in China. And
absolutely.
That's what, I'm not going to say pissed me off, but that's what got me like really frustrated when I saw this because it's just a blatant lie, right?
Yes.
Every Chinese person I know in China has had dog meat or at least know that it exists, right? It's very common. North, south, east, west.
Yeah.
Dog meat exists in China, okay?
Yeah.
So my perspective, and I think we disagree a little bit on this, but... Yeah. My perspective is that she's blatantly lying to everyone to get everyone in the West and everyone that speaks English to be like, oh, I'm so stupid. That was so racist of me. Yeah. Can't believe I thought Chinese people eat dogs, right?
I've got a different take on this. I honestly believe that she thinks people in China don't eat dog. The reason is media is so controlled in China that all this bad news, because you hear about the Yulin Dog Festival and you hear, I mean, you've been there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've all seen the terrible things that happened. I've seen it with my own eyes. And a lot of our friends, their dogs have been stolen, their pets to be cooked and tortured before, all this stuff. It's terrible. It happens. But because this is negative media, it gets blocked in China.
Sure.
So you don't see this kind of news, on the TV or you don't hear it on the radio. It's all blocked.
Right.
And Chinese people, the Chinese people I know, usually lead very insular lives.
Sure.
So she looks like the kind of girl who lives in this happy-go-lucky little bubble of sort of social media and, reading her WeChat posts and everything's happy. And China seems like all about LV bags and, and I honestly think that she just hasn't traveled around enough because a lot of people on my dog meat video are like, I'm Chinese, I've never eaten dog, I've never seen dog meat. And I'm like, okay, where do you live? And they'll say some small city. I go there on Baidu Maps and I search for dog meat restaurants and they're everywhere.
Right, and this is not to prove the point that like, you're wrong. Yeah. Every Chinese person eats dogs. We know they don't. Of course not.
Yeah.
And it's probably in the slight minority, but it's very, very, very common. And your perspective is interesting, but I really have been bombarded so much recently with like soft power stuff. And I really think that the Chinese government is really going out of their way to try to push this kind of rhetoric that no, all these negative stereotypes that you hear about, it doesn't happen. Okay, say that on TikTok. I'm a little bit more tinfoil hat about that, I think.
Well, I mean, if it ever does come up into question, both you and I have a lot of footage of dog meat and people eating dogs in China that we filmed over the years. All over China, north, south, east, west. So it's not like no, they don't. They absolutely do this. This poor girl's just misinformed.
Fair enough. Okay.
So we have another clip that we're going to look at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what this one is.
All right, so this simultaneously cracks me up and also makes me want to die. This is a grandfather pushing their child over the ledge on a swing on a building, very clearly.
Yes.
You can clearly see that. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, why can that happen?
From my point of view, things like safety are very often overlooked in China.
Sure.
I mean, workplace safety is just not a thing.
Right.
I don't know what it is about Chinese people. They just do things because they feel safe and confident to do things because they're like, oh, well, they don't ever get to see the repercussions of these things because I feel like when there is a work safety incident or someone gets, killed working a machine or something, then that person didn't learn a lesson because they're dead, so they
Fair
can't
enough.
pass on the thing, and then no one talks about it, so they just keep doing. I don't know.
A little more like maybe general broad
Maybe
perspective on
Fuyo.
that. Maybe it's Fuyo.
You know, fate.
So basically, I think that the person taking the video with their cell phone out their window, right, obviously thought it was ridiculous, and I think the majority of Chinese people are gonna think that there's a reason it's viral, right?
Right.
But I think this is what happens is that the uneducated group of grandparents are now taking care of the grandchildren
There we
predominantly,
go.
right?
Yeah.
So the common sense isn't there in that generation. But the middle-aged generation are all off factory jobs, office jobs, things like this. So they can't like instill that like sense of safety, right?
We did make a video about the lost generation, and
Right.
it is true that particular age group, they're very uneducated because basically that was during the bad times,
Sure.
and there was no school.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and you were basically killing your teacher or setting your local temple on fire.
Sure.
So you didn't have time to learn about common sense safety.
Right.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. I hope they like called the cops or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that, but at the same time, if I look at my wife's parents, they've got way more common sense than that. So,
Yeah. So obviously that's a very ridiculous situation.
Yeah,
That was kind of funny.
Yeah. The Royal Rumble is coming.
The annual The China Show's Royal Rumble is this year's main event.
Characters from the China Show come out one by one, and they bring their beef.
The first year, Jonty had a great performance.
Great.
But he wasn't so lucky the following year.
Tractor bulldozed Ballsack for a stunning victory in year 2.
Winston, Jonty's been looking for his second victory. But he's really, for lack of better words, pissed at the Haze Runner because he, in fact, is the fastest man in the world.
I'm the fastest man in the world. Nobody can stop me.
Not that wheezing maniac.
Also, don't forget, the new kid on the block, or should I say new brick in the wall, Mason, who's really angry with his neighbor Salte Waters, who plays his music too loud.
What a wonderful song. How come I've never heard it before?
It's been a little too much for Rick,
Wow, that's a little too much for me.
who's been replaced by Raging Roger. This is the feud of the year.
Join us at the Xiaoban Ho live tier to watch this year's main event, this year's Royal Rumble, as it happens with live commentary from Seamilk and Winston. You will be there and you will enjoy it. You will follow us, okay?
You'll follow me, okay?
Or you can support us at any other tier level to see it after it airs live.
Don't forget, you can gift patron memberships and bring the joy of the Royal Rumble to your family this season.
We'll see you in the ring on December 23rd at 5 p.m. EST. Be there or the frog gets peed on.